So welcome to the Tejano Virtual Events. We're going to have a really great presentation for you today. Today we're going to have Miss Janine Rudnick with us to tell us more about Microsoft Office 365 and OneDrive. And for attending today's workshop, you are going to have the opportunity to earn Tejano passport points. So during the workshop, you'll see I'll put a code in the chat box so that you can get points for today. And then I'll share more about this after the workshop. So please get comfortable, mute your mics. And if you have any questions, you can raise your hand or place them in the chat box down at the bottom. I'll be putting the chat, as I mentioned, I'll put the points in there so that you can log in and get those points for attending. So whenever you're ready, Miss Rudnick.
All right. Hello, everyone. Well, my name is Janine Rudnick, and as Krista mentioned, I am part of the Technology Resource Center, and we are on campus at the VV campus. Let me just plug that a minute. At the VV campus in room C202, and in that Technology Resource Center, we also have a green screen so you can film videos or whatever you want there, and we also have a podcast room, and anybody can use that for free. So just want to advertise that. In addition, we also have workshops, and if you watch Facebook, you'll see a lot of those things on Facebook and all the things that we have planned for you. So welcome. So you can stop anytime and ask questions. You can turn on your mics and ask questions or put it in the chat. And Ms. Sanchez will help me with that, I'm sure. But let's take a look at OneDrive. So let's do kind of if you could do your hand raise, how many of you use OneDrive right now? Okay. Oh, see, a lot of you are already using it. That's great. And maybe some of you aren't using it. But what we want to do today is take a look at OneDrive, and let me kind of talk about why I think you should use it and some benefits. And then I'm going to talk about a couple things that you may not be aware of with OneDrive. So let's go ahead and get to our OneDrive and get started. So I'm going to share my screen here, and we're going to go over to our OneDrive. Now, OneDrive is our information that EPCC gives us. So it's free to use, and we have a lot of space. So this is the way it looks when you open up OneDrive. But you may not even have to open it to get to things, and I'll show you that as we go along. So to get to this page, we want to go to epcc.edu and then go to My EPCC, and then you're going to find apps and OneDrive. So when you have OneDrive, it combines all of your things on Teams. It uploads, you can upload any kind of a document that you want. Because this is a Microsoft product, we're working mainly with our Microsoft forms and things like that. Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoints, and you'll see those. But you can do upload PDFs also. So as we're looking at this one, you get to your OneDrive and you have to sign in with your credentials. Now let's talk a little bit about why you'd want to use it. First of all, like I mentioned a second ago, you have a lot of space here. And I don't just mean a couple of gigabytes. If you do the free version and you don't sign into EPCC, you get 5 gigabytes. And they give that to you free, and that's pretty standard with Dropbox or any kind of a cloud service. But with this cloud service, if you sign in with EPCC, you get 1 terabyte of space. A terabyte. Now, I have used this for 6 or 7 years, probably longer than that, but steadily for 6 years. And I've used 25 gigabytes. So I have a lot of space. So a terabyte, you're never going to fill up a terabyte unless you put in full-length movies, which you shouldn't do, right? Now, usually people aren't even going to use up all of that, but you have it. So you don't have to be afraid to even delete things, really. You can keep things up there. The second thing, so we have a lot of space and a space to store it, and it's up on the cloud. And that leads to being able to sign into Outlook at any computer. Okay, at any computer, you don't have to carry around a USB. You don't have to, wonder if that USB is going to break and you lose your documents. You don't have to have it on your desktop. You can put it on your desktop if you want to back up, but everything's going to be in the cloud and you can go to any computer and take a look at it, which is a great thing to be able to do. Now, I mentioned earlier that there was one kind of little problem, and here's the problem. If you are at a podium in the classroom, okay, let's say you're giving a speech and you have your PowerPoint and you have it in your OneDrive. Because those podiums in the classrooms are linked only to faculty accounts, you're not going to be able to go into your OneDrive and pull out that PowerPoint presentation. So what you want to do is instead send it to your instructor, send it to your Gmail. You can pull it off that way. But that's the only reason why I can think you wouldn't want to use it, is you can't pull off that information if you are at the teacher stand in a classroom. But we're not doing that every day. And almost every day we are looking at documents. So let's see how all of this works. Now, you can also get OneDrive as the app. I'm using it as the online version today. And this is probably most common. So let's take a look at what we have. I have so many different things that I don't organize it all the time. So sometimes you're going to go, what is this woman doing? We need to have more information, right? We need to have all of this just like she has it. It's like, no, but let me show you what I do have. Let's start over at the side. First of all, you know that you're signing with EPCC because you've got my EPCC right here. You've got OneDrive. You've got your profile picture over here. Okay, and you've got the account manager and everything there. So we want to look at home, and that's what this is. And when we see home, we see things that are opened quite frequently or opened recently. So the other day I gave a workshop on morphing in PowerPoint, and I wanted to talk to a trainer, and then we have a trainer schedule. So when we take a look at these things, these are the things that have been done fairly recently. Now, below, we also have recent things. So this will tell you even more information. So as I take a look at it, I can look at all, or I can say, I just want my Word documents. I just want those Word documents, right? And I have all kinds of things going on there. Or maybe I want to go with the spreadsheets or the PowerPoints or whatever it is that I'm looking at, or the PDFs. So there are a few others that you can take a look at. You can look at OneNote, Microsoft Lists, so all kinds of different things. You may not be interested in some of these. OneNote you might be interested in videos. So we can take a look at any video that we have created also. So those can be up here. Now you're going to create those in Microsoft. You can use Clipchamp, or you can use other kinds of files to create those videos. So just let me know if you have questions about that. All right. So if we go back to all, actually, I'm just going to go to this document. And I want to show you what else happens here. If I want to, I can filter by the name or person. So I have written most of these. See, all these are owner, owner, owner. But there might be somebody else who wrote it. So I might be able to see if somebody, oh, nope, that person didn't write anything. So this is a person who's in my department, and I can take a look and say, okay, Mr. Moody wrote these things. And I can take a look at it and go, I don't remember what the title was, but I know who wrote it. And you can take a look at things that way. You can also filter by the name of the document. So I'm going to go with TRC training. And I don't know the name of it necessarily, but look what it did. It pulled up all of the TRC training things. If I have it named, it's going to pull it up. This goes back to 2023. Okay. The other thing you want to see here is this area called activity. So with my Word documents, I can scroll down, and mostly there hasn't been any activity, but here is something that somebody else shared. It was written by somebody, and then somebody else, Andrea Rico Elizondo, and then it has been shared. And I can see who's written on this information. Now, this happens more often when you're in a group and you're working on a group project, and you might have some documents that are shared with you, and you can see this was written by someone else, and I can see who wrote it. And if there was any activity of somebody else looking at it, it would be there. Okay, we have the same thing for PDFs. So you can take a look at those, and a lot of these are written by other people. So we can filter them. We can see what activity there is. We can see when it was opened last, and all kinds of things just by looking at this recent. And here we're looking at all, and it's going to go down pretty far. This isn't just recent. If you click it and then you do a search, it's going to be all kinds of things. Okay? So that's kind of a basic menu item. Now, let's go over to the second thing here is I'm going to go through my files. So when I take a look at my files, that's pretty much what this is, right? And what I have done is created folders for everything. Now, when you create a folder, this to me, for my purposes, it's the best way to organize things. So I have spring 2026, and you say, why do you have an exclamation point in front of it? Because in the list, it's going to be in some kind of an order, but I want my list for the spring 2026 to be at the top. So if I put a character in front of it, or if I put a couple of zeros, it's going to bump it up to the top, and I don't have to look for it very much. It's either going to be at the very top or the very bottom, depending on how that list is organized. So I can take a look at it here, and do I want, which way do I want this to be? And I want that one to be at the top, ascending. Okay. Now, how do I get that? How do I get a folder in there? So if I look at my files, I've got my folders, but I will tell you that not everything is in a folder. Because if I go down here, I've got lots of things that are not in folders. So I can go back and get rid of those, or I can put those in a folder. It's best to be organized, but doesn't happen all the time. The other thing that I can do here, and I'm going to show you how to create that in just a second. The other thing I can do to bump it to the top is do a favorite. So when I click favorite, it's going to be able to help me find it faster. So you might want to divide it from smaller points too. So once I click on this, spring 2026, I've got a couple of folders. Here are my classes. Here's the syllabi. This is a grant that I'm on. And then I have all this other stuff that doesn't necessarily apply, or maybe it just didn't get into a folder. So I can create any of those things. Now, let's go to that create. I've been talking about it enough. Let's do it. So I'm going to go to create or upload. When I click this, I can upload something if I want to. But here are the things that I can do. I can create a folder. Now, I'm going to create a new folder here. Let's start with that. So I'm going to create this folder. Notice that you can put a color on it. Let's just give it this little fuchsia color. And I'm going to say, I have a lot of different things going on. So let me just say TRC training. I may already have a folder called that, and I can change it later. And I'll put 2 on there just to make sure. But I want this to be at the top. So what I'm going to put on here is some kind of an icon so that it will be closer to the top. And maybe I'll put 2 exclamation points. Oh, very fancy of me. Just so it goes close to what I'm doing. Okay, so this is creating it. So now this is the newest one. It's got 2 marks, and it's going to be ahead of this one. So it's going to go to the top. Let's just put a little thing here too. So I created this folder. Once I'm inside of it, I can also create a folder inside. So here's what I'm going to do. My folder is empty, but what I want to do is create a folder inside of this folder. Oh. So what I want to do is say Microsoft PowerPoint. So I'm going to put all of my training things into this one. I don't necessarily need a color. I'm going to do it anyway. So when I open this up, I can see I've got Microsoft PowerPoint. And then from here, I can just keep adding and keep adding. You can go as far as you want down this rabbit hole of putting things in folders. And the search engine will help you find things very easily. That's right up here. Or you can do the searching like I showed you before. Now, let's take a look at a few things here. I've got my title. I'm going to come back to these things in the middle. This one is when it was modified by me. It doesn't have any items in it. So you can see if you have empty folders, and you can get rid of those pretty easily. And then this is sharing and it's private. So let's say I have all kinds of information inside of here. Maybe I have all kinds of designs or whatever I want. And let's just, I don't know if I have anything to upload, but let me see if I can upload something. I'm going to upload a file. And let me see if I've got a point. That's okay. I'll just use this. So this is just a design, and I want to upload this design. Maybe I use that in my PowerPoint. And when I take a look at that, here's my picture. It's not in here yet, but I can move it in there if I want to. Now, in order to move it, I can click on this area, the three dots, and I can say move to, and it's slowly going to come up, and I'll be able to move it to that folder. All right, so here is where I want to move it. Okay, I don't have anything there. The folder's empty, but now I want to move. So it should be able to move that. Now, once I click that, here's a file size, so we know something's in there. Here's the Microsoft PowerPoint, and here's my picture that I put in. All right, so you can do this very easily. Again, taking a look at that create or upload, you can create anything at this point also. Let's say you want to do a Word document. If you create it within your information, within your folder on OneDrive, it's going to be connected with OneDrive already. I'll show you all about that. So while we're here in this information, let me show you a few for a couple other reasons why you want to take a look at it from OneNote. Not OneNote, OneDrive. Too many ones. We have information that says this is the cloud. And I'm going to click on this one. I haven't given it a title, but I click on it. It's still scrolling up there. We've got it out. The little shield, we have it kind of safe here. I'm going to put sample doc. Oh, not there. There you go. And I can name it right there. Okay, so when I have all of this, I've got header and footer. I have all these things. I accidentally made a header and footer. I don't want these things. I don't want that. I got a little too carried away. All right. So as I'm looking at this one, it is saving it. And if you don't see things being saved, it's not in the document. It's not in OneDrive. So you want to make sure things are saved. Okay, and you can check on it. I have Grammarly up there, and you can get Grammarly added to your documents if you want to. Now, when you have all of these things, we have the ribbon and all the things that are going on here. And we can talk about that if you're interested in that at another time, and how to add things to the ribbon and all that. But let's take a look at how we share this. So this sample doc is going to put, read this. And once I start typing something, it's going to go into save mode again. Now, let's look at this sample doc again. And I want to click the cloud to see where it is saved. So I can see that it's under my folder, and then it's saving under Microsoft PowerPoint. So it's saving in that folder that I have there. Okay, so now I want to share this with people. Now, why would you want to share things? It's a great collaborative tool. If you are working on PowerPoint together, let's say you're doing a group presentation in a class, or you're doing a group presentation for whatever audience you're speaking to. You want to have everybody have access to that without sending it in an email. If you send it in an email, here's what happens. You will say, okay, so group, here's our PowerPoint. What changes should I make? Person one says, capitalize this. Person two says, we need to change this to that. And number three, and it goes back and forth. And you're saying, okay, you're emailing, okay, and next, okay. And pretty soon you've got like 30 emails on this one presentation. If you share the document and you give them permission to edit, they can change the font, they can change the spelling, they can correct things, and everybody's going to see that in real time. And that's if you share the document and then you share the link. The link is always live. And let me show you how that is done. We're going to go over to share. And this is going to be on every Microsoft document. You're also going to see this on Google. But, we're not looking at Google today, but it's all kind of the same. You're going to take a look at share. And when we have share, we don't just want to copy the link because that doesn't give people permission necessarily. So we want to go with share. And when this comes up, we have some options. So here, if you just want to send it to one person or a couple of people, you can add an email. Just boop, boop, boop. Here's the email, and we're sending it to them. And here's a message that goes with it. But most of the time, I'm writing something else in an email, and I really want to send them the link. I don't just want to share this document. Okay? So you also might have a group email, and this has to be part of Outlook. All right? You're sending it in Outlook. You can do an email to an outside of EPCC situation, but when we're doing something like a group, it means the group that you have built within Outlook. All right? Now, what we want to do here is figure out how we can send this maybe in an email and say, hey, group, let's look at this. So as I do this, I want to go to link settings. If I'm putting in the email, I can just type my stuff and send it. But I want to go to link settings. Now, here you will see you can choose people, which is what we just talked about. And you can do this outside. Or you can take a look at anyone. Now, look at what happens when I click anyone. Look at this date. Okay, I don't have an expiration date. But once I click on that once I click on that thing that says anyone, that I only have a month. And then their information goes away. Okay? They don't have access to it at all. So you want to decide which of these you want to use. If you're doing people in the community college, which means they have to have signed in with their EPCC information, it's got .edu, epcc.edu at the end, then you can click it and there's no expiration date. So again, if you click on anyone, which is really easy because you're just going, I don't want to mess with this and I don't want to have people sign in, they only get access for a month. It works for most of us, but sometimes it doesn't. And then you can have existing access. We're not talking about that yet, but I'll show you about that. So, and then you have people we choose, which goes back to that list, and you're adding people's names. Now, let's go down a little bit. We're looking at the settings. So when we have these settings, we say, can review and only suggest changes, can view, can't make any changes, or they can make changes, they can edit. So as we take a look at that, that is helpful to us because we want to be able to, see, let them make changes if you want. This is also cannot download, but they can view it. That's in some certain situations. So edit, review, view, or can't download. And you would do that in some situations where you say, yeah, you can look at this, but you can't download it and copy my stuff. Don't do that. All right, so as we do this, then the next step here under share, I clicked too quickly, is you're going to apply. So we have, let's go with people in the community college, and let's say they can edit it, and you're going to apply. Then you have this link, and this link will go onto your email, and then they can click it. Now, this is a live link. if you are in Outlook and you want to insert or attach, you can have something that's attach a new document, which means everybody gets their own copy. You can attach the document, or you can put this link inside of the email itself. So you have a few options there. Okay. And you're going to be able to do this only if it's in OneDrive. If you have something that you've started up and it doesn't have a connection to OneDrive and you want to share it, you'll still be able to see the share button, but you will not be able to just go to it and say, okay, let me share this on OneDrive. No, 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 no. They're going to say you have to upload this to OneDrive before you can share it. Okay. So this kind of saves you. Everything's in OneDrive, and you're going to be able to see different versions of things. So if you come back to this later on, you're going to be able to see a different version of it. Okay. I don't think it's going to do it right now. We're not going to have a lot of versions here, but if you leave the page and then you come back to it, you're going to be able to see that. And so all this is very easy to do. And again, we've got the cloud location here, and you're going to see this on this share button that looks like this, and you're going to do this with multiple things, anything that's Microsoft products. So Word, Excel, PowerPoint. Those are the big things. There are a couple other files that you would do this with, but those are the important ones. Okay, any questions about sharing? Okay, let me go back to the screen and see if I can see you. All right, any questions about sharing? You got it? Okay. All right, so let's continue, and we're going to go on to looking at that dashboard and see what we can find in our OneDrive. So we do want to kind of figure out what can we do with this. So let me go ahead and share it. We're going to go back to our window, and we're going back to OneDrive. All right, now this is a different version of it. So this is the version that is the app, and it looks quite a bit different, and I don't like it. I don't like it. But if you have it on your app, it's going to be on the side, and I'm just going to show you this, and then I'll get off of it and show you the other way. But when we take a look at these things, we can still see our file folders and all of these things that are here. I have way too many file folders. We can take a look at anything that is still compressed, and we can take a look at any applications. Now, some of these applications are going to be in my OneDrive, but maybe it's things that I haven't looked at very often. This spring registration form of 2022 probably can be deleted. I'm not sure about you, but I think I can delete that. All right, so let's go back to our information and going back to our OneDrive. Okay, did you see that switch there, everybody? Okay, so we are at OneDrive. Give me a shout out if you can't see it. And we've talked about some of these things here. So we talked about sharing. So notice in our sample doc, it's not private anymore, it is shared. And then if I share it with a bunch of people, or I share it in a team, and we can talk about teams someday too if you're interested. But if I share it in a team, then I give access to specific people. And then I can take a look at that document and get rid of that access. So I can unshare this anytime that I want. I just have to go to that Share tab, and then it's going to say Manage Access, and I can get rid of the sharing. So you can undo things. Now, we've talked about My Files then, and we've talked about some of these things. Here, again, we can copy the link. We can share it from here if we want to, if I've got this highlighted. And I've just got the mark here, and I'm going to say I want to share it. It's going to give me the same sort of thing. So you don't have to go into the document, but if you're already there, it's going to be the same way. We can also delete from here too. You always want to look at the 3 dots on anything that you do. So you can make it favorite here, so it's going to be higher on the list. You can add a shortcut, which I usually don't do, but like where do you want to put it? You can download it, print it, move it, copy to, which is kind of nice. Rename. Oh, no, we don't do really much with the bottom three here, or bottom two. We don't usually look at automate, but it's something that's there for the future. And then we're going to take a look at version history. So if we have something with version history, notice I have something that was version 1, which was 118. I changed it a little bit at 126, and that's version 2. So if you are sharing a document with someone and you're saying, okay, group, we're sharing this PowerPoint. Bethany changed this, and you can see who modified it here. You're going to be able to see what it was, and you can always go back to your original version. Let's say somebody changes something and it's just awful, or it's just not in the tone that you want, or they copy and pasted it, and you're going to get in trouble for that from your instructor. So whatever it is, you can go ahead and take a look at the version, and then you can go back to the version. So I can go back to this if I want to and say, this is the one I want. I can open it, I can restore it, or I can delete that version. So that gives you kind of a safeguard for when you're sharing these files and you hope somebody doesn't ruin it. They can't ruin it because there's a version history here. And that's all in OneDrive also. Another bonus, right? Another bonus. And that's if you have this selected. So let's keep this sample doc as selected and take a look at some other things here. Okay, when I'm looking at this one, I have some of the same things here. Remember I talked about that manage access? Well, let's take a look at it from this point of view. If I find out the deadline is done and you have one link, you have just one person, I can stop sharing. Now, why would you do this? Well, a lot of times you have a deadline for something, and let's say you've got a presentation coming on Monday, and you want this PowerPoint done and everybody's input by Thursday. There's always going to be somebody on Sunday night who says, hey, I wanted to make changes on that. It's like, no, it's too late. It's too late. We got to, we're presenting this tomorrow. You can stop the sharing of the document so people cannot add to it anymore or can't edit. And that's kind of a good thing. So you can stop sharing if you want to. And if I do this stop sharing, it's going to change it over here too. Okay. That's just manage access. And then if you want to share it in a different way, here you go. We can do this so many different ways. We're sharing this again. It's like, here's our familiar little tag there. So we'll keep it shared for now. But as you look at this, remember there are a lot of things you can do from here. All right, let's take a look at it. We can delete, favorite, add shortcuts. All the things that we talked about before are here and up at the top. Microsoft always gives you a bazillion, okay, maybe 3 different ways to take a look at your documents. And you don't have to just go, oh, I have to go here to do it this way. You can do it in many, many different ways. We also have sharing here. So there are a lot of things going on there. So you can see who took a look at something, who changed it, what version is it, those sorts of things. Now let's go over here to shared. It's like I know I just talked about shared, but this is a little different. So what I can do here is I can have something that is shared by me. That's what we just talked about. What do I want to share? Here's the first one that is shared by me. So in this one, it is my sample doc. I modified it, but look down here. It is shared by me, but it says 1960s. How can that be shared by me? Well, here's what happened. I put a blank PowerPoint into a team, and actually I think it was a team chat, and then the team modified it. So here's the student who modified it, and here are the students that modified these things. Okay, so I can see who modified the information, who went in and did something with this information. And that's kind of nice. So you can create folders here that can be shared. You can do all kinds of things. So by the way, You can share folders. It just doesn't just have to be a document. You can share a folder too, and I'll show you that in just a minute. All right, these are things that people have sent or shared with you. So I have pictures, I have class schedules of something that was sent out by distance learning, right? Here's something I went to earlier. Here's a class sequence. You know, these are shared with me. So somebody else wrote them. Now I'm not necessarily getting the shared by, because this might be in my files and I'm going to get some other information. But most of the time, if it's a shared folder or file, you're going to see activity, like who wrote it, who is taking a look at this one. This is something that was saved on Teams chat, and it goes right in here because Microsoft and Teams go together. And this was shared by a student also. So you can see things that are in this area. So what happened was that Fernando Morris and the TRC opened up a podcast folder for me, and then he put in all of the information, and then he shared it with me. So it works really well. Now, again, if you're going, I don't want to go through all that to see what's shared with me, click on just the folders. Okay, so here, just click on that part. Just click on that one. Whatever you want shared with you. I shouldn't have very many of those. Okay, whatever is there, you want to make sure that you can view very easily. And again, because we have the colors, it makes it easier to go, oh, yeah, we're doing the red colors. Okay, we're doing the red colors. That's going to work. That's going to work. And we find it much easier. Or again, you can go by the name of the folder, or the document, or the person. So you can take a look at all of those things at once. Very easy to do. You can also say, I just want to look at OneNote, and there's all my OneNote notebooks, and you're going to be able to take a look at those pretty easily too. So shared with you and by you makes it easy to take a look at what you have, and it's easier to do than a search because you may not know about it. All right, let's take a look at that favorites. So here are the things that I just did this TRC training to, and all these have the little star. So these are what I consider my important things. And if I say, I don't really need to look at that one anymore, I can remove that item from favorites. That's kind of old. I don't think I need that anymore. I can just delete those kinds of things. Pretty easy to do. And then you've got usually about 30 days to look at the documents. And in the recycle bin, you have a little bit of time, unless it says you are deleting this permanently. Is that what you want to do? They will say that on Outlook sometimes, and then it's gone. So you can go ahead and take a look at those. It's going to keep there for a little while at least. So some of these have been there a while. Maybe it's longer than 30 days. All right. So when you take a look at this, you're looking at people, meetings, or media also. So let's say you've got a bunch of people that you talk to, and you want to divide this by people. So you can take a look at, here's Ms. Galindo, who has written some things, Mr. Moody, the Technology Resource Center. So all these people have sent me things, and these have gone into my my OneDrive, and I can take a look at them very easily. So you can go and say, okay, these things have been sent. This pinning, it just makes it go to the top. It's kind of like the favorites, and I can make it go to the top if I want to, okay? So we have things by people. You may not be in a lot of meetings, but some of us are in a lot of meetings, and here are some things that we want to take a look at. So we have TOT information. Here's, LM notebook. Now, these are not the things from my TRC training. These are other meetings, okay? These are other meetings that happen because these are ones specifically with me. So you see my little picture there, okay? We also have media. And these are going to be the videos or photos and all kinds of things going on. Okay, so these are different photos from different places. And then I also have documents from various teams. So if you're a person that is looking at teams and you say, okay, what information did I have in this team? I can go ahead and take a look at that and take a look at the documents that are there. So here's things under general, and I can look in the site library and find all of these things. So there's a lot going on with OneDrive. And again, it's something that's very, very, I like it. I like it a lot, and it really helps me take a look at maybe the organization, or if I'm not very organized, I can just do a search for people or topics, or take a look at a search at the top and find all kinds of things. So when I'm looking at my files, again, I can reorganize it. I can take a look at all of these things that I want to do. I can delete them if I want. Kind of a nice thing to be able to, I already have training info here, but nice thing to be able to do, because look at all this junk I have. And some of these are just documents. This one has nothing in it. So certainly I can take a look at that and delete it. It's got nothing in it. It's still shared with somebody, but I can delete it. So I'm just going to go here. Up at the top, I can delete, right? And it double checks. It says, hey, are you sure? Are you sure you want to delete it? I do. I probably want to delete things from 2021 too. There are probably some things on here, but since before you were born. So as I look at this, OneDrive is something that is a tool that is in the cloud. We've got a terabyte of space. We've got a lot of ways to share information once things are inside the OneDrive. You want to make sure it's inside the OneDrive. The other thing you want to realize is that if you're creating something that is within OneDrive, within EPCC, where it gets all of that, you also are going to have access to the Copilot, so the AI tool. So the AI tool is going to be there to help you with spelling, or sometimes fixing a sentence, not writing a paper, but doing all kinds of other things to help you. It will analyze like your spreadsheets. It will do all of that, but it's not going to do it unless you're inside of OneDrive. It's also a safety to be in OneDrive attached to EPCC, because we have a license. It's an enterprise license for education. It doesn't send this information back to an LLM. It's not going to send it back to help with its training. It's going to protect it. And we want to have that information protected, especially if we're writing sensitive information. All right, let's go ahead and pull up one file, and let me show you just one quick thing about my information. So I'm going to go home here, and I'm going to pull up something from Excel. So because I'm within Excel, there was something that showed up just as a flash. There was a little shield, and that little shield tells me that we are safe. See the little shield? It'll probably go away. But then it goes away once it says, oh yeah, okay, you're in there, you're in there, you're in the cloud. But once I look at this one and I take a look at all of this, I can go over to Copilot. So if I look down at the menu, I can go over to Copilot here, and I can pull up information for Copilot, and I can analyze whatever I need to. So it makes work much, much easier. I don't even have to worry about what the formula is, because it's going to help me. So this is just a whatever tool. And I'm going to show you very quickly, what are we solving today? And I'm going to say, find the...
So Janine, I don't know if we're seeing what you're seeing.
Okay, you don't see the Excel spreadsheet?
No.
All righty. Well, let me go to stop sharing and then share a window. That's what I was kind of concerned about earlier. Okay, let me go ahead and share another window. But you could see the rest of it, right? Well, hopefully you would have yelled at me, right? Okay. You can see the Excel spreadsheet now?
Yes.
All right. So let me show you that again. When you have something in our area, excuse me, under OneDrive, you are going to have access to OneNote that connects with that thing. If you don't, if you are looking at, like, I'm just going to go and get some kind of a file, but I'm not going to connect it to the OneDrive. You're not going to be able to attach one Copilot safely. So again, if we have this, we had just a flash of a little shield here, and I don't think it's going to redo that. But in the other, if you do this as an app, you're going to see a little shield over here that says you are safe. Now, let's just connect this. I don't need this. This is saved online, right? In fall 22. I've had this file a while, and it tells me where it is, which is good. But now as I look through here, I'm looking down at my ribbon and I can see the Copilot. Okay. You may not find that unless you're there. So now I'm just going to show you one quick thing here. This is something you could do in Excel, but you could also do an analysis in a Word document. You could have it summarize it. You can have it do all kinds of different things. Again, all connected to OneDrive. All right. So find the vehicles that are black that are under $60,000. Let's see if it does that. So it says it's thinking. Now, this is not a lot. This is like 20, 24 different things here, maybe fewer than that. But if I wanted, maybe I have something that has a lot of numbers, then you can just use the Copilot in connection with OneDrive, and you can be able to find this information. It's taking its sweet time today. It's only 24. Come on. There we go. So here's what we have. We have this one. I guess we just have one. And so it gives us all the information. Where did it get it? From this same document. So it's black and under 60,000. There's only one vehicle that matches. So imagine if you have 10 pages of information. You know, your boss someday says, hey, find this one thing. All you have to do is throw it, you get it in your OneDrive, you pull up Copilot, and you can take a look at that. Now, you could do this in other AI programs too, but that AI package of Copilot connecting with our OneDrive makes things much, much easier. And you can use this in a lot. That's a whole different topic, though. So today, there have been a lot of things we've talked about using it and how much space you have. We talked about sharing the documents, and that's a kind of an outlier of OneDrive, but you want to share it because it's within OneDrive, right? You want that all to be together. And then we talked about putting in things, folders, or uploading or creating folders. You can also upload them from your desktop, and then putting a special number or character in the front so it moves higher up the list. Okay. We also talked about how to move things, and copying is the same way as moving it. You just copy it to another one, but you just have two of them. So what questions do you have?
So, Janine, I have a question. You said, so like if we wanted to learn more about this, you said at the Technology Resource Center, we could go over there, the students or the staff or faculty?
Sure. Sure. There are a couple ways to do it. If you want to talk to me specifically, you can send me an email, and I think you can put up my email if you want to in the chat. There's also TRC training that you could go over there and chat with that information. I'm just going to put my email in there. And you can also contact me in Teams chat. But anything related to Microsoft, including the Clipchamp, which is a video center. We also do things with Canva, and almost anything that you would want. So we can help you out with any of the technology or help explain AI. And we also have workshops. So check your Facebook. I know it's old school, but check Facebook and you will see the workshops that we offer for students too. And if you're faculty or staff, you can take a look at your email for that.
Thank you. Thank you. Does anybody have any more questions for Ms. Rudnick? I know it's something that we see all the time, every single day. You see your OneDrive, so it's good to find out more about how to use it effectively. So we appreciate you coming in, giving us a presentation, Janine. Thank you. And I want to thank all of you all for coming in as well so that you support our workshops. Next week, we're going to be having a presentation on best AI use for student learning. And
Ooh.
yeah, so that's going to be another great topic, same time at 1:00. And then I have put the code for the Tejano Passport points. If you click on that and log in, you'll get points for attending the workshop today. So thank you all for coming. And again, thank you for the great presentation. We appreciate it. And
Thank you.
appreciate all the workshops you all offer every week too. So I
Sure.
hope y'all
Let me
have
know
a
if you have
great
questions.
weekend. Yes, exactly. And I hope you all come back again next week and have a great weekend.
Take care, everybody.